All right, so very good evening to all of you gathered here. A very warm welcome to all of you. In the previous class, we learned about simple sentence constructions and the complex sentence constructions. We also could use the grammar symbol box and the advanced symbols to differentiate between the different kinds of symbols that we actually use for our parts of speech. Thereby, we also got into another topic of, using for the word study. We would be using suffixes, prefixes, and compound words. In today's topic, we go a little bit more deeper into understanding what is a suffix and how do we work on modifying each one of it. Right. So suffix, as the name itself says, it's like a word which modifies the meaning of a root word. So whenever you take any root word, the root word for you has to be a verb, right? An action word it has to be. So we take up that action word and we would be able to add any suffix to it. So this becomes one of the part of helping our children to learn certain words. So they end when you add a suffix, the word changes its meaning. So this is what it is. So in Montessori curriculum, how do you do is like for everything we have something related to the cards, right? So we will have to be preparing the root cards for our children. We will have to be helping out with all of that. So what would be your root card? You have to make a lot of verbs, the action word cards. That is what we're going to be working on. And how well that you're going to be working is like in your preparation, the first thing what you need to work is, as I mentioned, you will start with a base word. Your base is going to be an action word like play. You bring that word, you show it to the child. Now, slowly, you can also give movable alphabets for our children. When you give movable alphabets for them, they are also constructing the spelling for it. This is also completed. Once this is done is where you are going to work on the concrete exploration, correct? So how do I work on this particular notation? So I will probably give my child what are my suffixes that I'm going to be adding. So for at the beginning, it is difficult for the child to understand how do we introduce. So you take a word card. Now you take another card wherein you would have suffixes. For example, ing could be another one, correct? Ful could be another word. Now I can have play plus ing is playing. Play plus ful is playful, correct? So the child will be able to see. Now, did it change any of the meaning? It modified it, correct? It modified. It did not change the meaning of it, but suffixes actually modified it. So any of the spellings that we actually add towards the ending, that becomes the suffix of our root word. So you have to go a little slow to the children, help them in identifying using our Montessori 3-period lesson. Once this is all completed, what is the next thing that we're going to be working is like, how do you work on the recognition and association? See, your book will have only a word. It says if you go to the word study in your textbook, it says like introduction of suffixes, prefixes, and compound words in the word study. But you have to also introduce, right? You can't just tell them that we're going to be using it. Now, for each one of it, what we have to do is like you have to make a word list. You have to make charts. To make them understand a little better, you will collect a lot of pictures because you want the child to associate what you're trying to say. So that's the reason we would always use Montessori 3-period lesson, correct? And you can actually make another sentence and we will ask the children to recall, add the suffixes to the base word so that they would be able to recall it also better. Now, do we have different kinds or different types of suffixes is something that we will have to be looking. Now, say suppose in case of there are multiple types, like I might have a verb suffix, I might have an adverb suffix, correct? I might have a noun form suffix. We don't know about it. But in case if I'm taking a verb suffix, what is it? I add that suffix to the base verb. When I'm adding to the base verb, it will modify the tense forms. Like it can become, the present tense can become a past tense, right? So this would indicate whether an action has happened or the action is happening or the action is going to happen in the future, correct? So this is what we are trying to work on it. Now, few examples could be, say, suppose in case if I'm adding an ing, okay? Say if I'm adding an ing to this particular exercise, what could be my first thing that I'm going to be adding? It's an ongoing action. See, correct? So if there is, now just take your root word. Now the root word is run. If I add an ing to it, running, is it anywhere related to my tenses? Yes, it is happening in the present tense. Correct? You're able to understand? So it's happening in what of my tense? It is happening in the present tense. It is happening in the present tense of mine. Now, can you relate it? Any of the verb suffixes can be related to tenses. Yes, run plus ing is running. Correct? Jump plus ed. If I add ed, it will all be related to what? It will all be related to my past tense. It will become my past tense. Jump, jumped, read, read. Correct? So it becomes my past tense. So anything that completes my action. I can add a er. Now, when I add an er, it creates a noun. A person who is doing that action. For example, in case if I'm teaching, so teach, if I add a er, it becomes on a noun form. Who is the one who is performing that particular action? Preach, preacher. Correct? So that would be one of my example that I can add. Now, what if we add an en to it? It forms the participles. Or sometimes it can also become or act like an adjective also. For example, light, lighten, bright, brighten, fright, frighten. I can add an ify. If I add an ify, the verb, the action becomes a noun. So this is also you need to understand. It becomes a noun. For example, simple, simplify. Notice, notify. If I add an IZE or an ISE, it turns into a noun. Okay, it is to make or to become. Critic, criticize. You're getting the differences? So these would be the first verb forms, suffixes that we can actually use it. So I am not telling you have to use all of that. But you have to know, because when you are teaching English language for a little older children, like in elementary, we might have different kinds of verb suffixes that we would be using it. So what is important for us is like take any action card. If you're using only ing and ed, make multiple cards. Run, running, jump, jumping, skip, skipping, eat, eating. You will only follow that particular family. And then you're going to be adding the ing. Okay, so this becomes our first one. Now moving to our second kind. Please note down or you can take a screenshot too. The second one becomes even more easier for us. It is related to not the verb forms. Now it becomes related to our noun suffixes. I can still add an er. I can still add other suffixes like, or. When do I add an er? When a person is performing the action. Again, it's related to my noun. I would add or if a person or a thing does something. Not only for person, even if there is a thing which is actually working on it, we can actually add or, like act, actor. Support, supporter. Okay, ist. If a person is specializing in something, then we add ist. Artist, novelist, philosophist,
Dentist.
Yeah, dentist. Okay, we can add ist in case if they're trying to specialize in something, gynecologist, oncologist, right? So ist. It is related to people who specialize in something. Now, in case if you are specifically saying something related to what is the state of being, what is the condition of yours, what is the result of that particular thing, we might add ment. For example, I am resenting to do this work. Resentment. I'm trying to develop this particular habit. Development. MENT. It's the state, it's the condition, it's the result of what it is actually happening. So you can work on that. So do we have any other MENT words, suffixes? Any other MENT words?
Statement.
Yeah, pay, payment, state, statement. See, it is all related to the condition or the result of whatever I'm actually asking. In case if I want to specify on the quality of the noun, if I want to specify the state of that noun, what kind of a state that I'm actually being there, I can use any SS. I'm very polite. I'm very kind, kindness. Okay. What else I could have? I'm very good. The goodness in me. Happy, the happiness in me. I'm being very careful, carefulness in me. We are very weak. The weakness, people take a lot of advantage. Correct? We're very swift, the swiftness of arts. A lot of things that you can actually add, which defines the state or the quality of your noun. Now, in case if we add TION or SION, it is the act of something. You're trying to act or process of something. So invent, invention. So you can add TION or SION. So likewise, you might also have ITY as a suffix. If you're talking specifically about the quality of the noun or the condition of the noun, active, activity. If you want to talk about the relationship, friend, friendship. Any other words with ends with SIHP? Friend, friendship.
Partnership.
Yeah, partner, partnership. Citizen.
Membership.
Member, membership. Yeah. What a craft, craftsmanship. He's such a champion.
Scholarship.
Championship. What is that?
Scholarship.
Scholarship. Very good. Leadership. Scholarship.
Ownership.
Ownership. Fellowship.
Citizenship.
Citizenship. Yes. Relation, relationship. Master, mastership. Companion, companionship. Okay, see, don't you think that everything is related to the state or the relationship of the noun? So then we can actually use SHIP. See, everything has so much of meaning, no? When we are trying to segregate each of it, how well the suffixes are classified into groups. When we're talking about a condition, we might use ANCE or ENCE. Huh? So words like, accept. I accept your writing. What a beautiful performance you actually gave. Brilliant. Your brilliance. The way that you appear, appearance. The way you tolerate, your tolerance. Any more words with ANCE? You resemble like my sister, resemblance.
Attendance. Importance.
Attendance.
Importance, yes. But don't resist to write your homework, resistance. You have to attend the class every day, attendance. That's the condition or the action that we take. Now, do we have any words with ENCE suffix?
Confidence.
Confidence, very good.
Silence.
Silence, yes, silent. You're being silence. Very nice.
Presence.
Presence. Don't be absent to the class. Absence.
Independence.
Independence.
Influence.
Conference. Competence.
Confidence.
Confluence.
Competence. Write a sentence on each of the suffixes. Sentence. And each of you teacher are influencing also. Influence.
Dependence.
Dependence.
Experience.
Experience. Very good. How intelligent.
Residence.
Intelligence. Resistance. Yeah, correct. And each one of them. Differences of opinion. Correct. And what matters?
Influence.
And what matters the most is we are all existing. So existence. So many words, right? So these are all our noun suffixes, okay? So you should be able to give these differences not to the preschooler, but in case if you are teaching an elementary class, yes, noun suffixes are important. But what you need to educate the children is even if you're adding a suffix, which is indicating it could be a place or a person or a thing or an idea or a state of being, it should not change the meaning, but it will only enhance or modify the word. Okay, it is only for modification. Okay, so that's our noun suffixes. Moving to the next one. I hope you've all taken the screenshot of it. Yes. So let's move to the next one. The next one is related to our adjective suffixes. So what we do, again, we take the base verb. Okay, the base word to form an adjective. Now, whatever suffixes that you're going to be adding, now these suffixes should describe the quality or it should describe the characteristics. This is important. Now, say, suppose, let's take the first one, F-U-L. Can we have words? You are so beautiful. Beauty, beautiful.
Powerful.
Powerful. Now, is it helping me to work?
Wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful, ma'am.
Wonderful. Very good. Wonderful.
Colorful.
Colorful. So, whenever you are adding F-U-L, it is describing something full of. Correct? It is so much in abundance. It's full of. Beautiful, colorful, careful,
Joyful.
joyful. See, it's so much in full that you're giving. So you can work on that. Now, in case if you add L-E-S-S, that means there's nothing. So it's like it is showing emptiness, something which is without that. Careless. How careless you are. See how careful, how careless. You're hopeless. You're careless.
Helpless.
You're helpless. See, it shows.
Fearless.
Useless.
Yes, it is
Useless.
useless. Very good. Useless. See, it is showing the
Fearless.
worth of it. Fearless. You're so
Countless.
countless. Very good.
Kindless, ma'am.
Kindless.
Colorless.
Wonderful. Okay, so that means you don't have anything. Now, when you add your OUS, okay, so what does OUS tell us? It's having the quality of. Okay, so when we add an OUS, it can show that this is something which is showing the quality of that particular thing. Let's say, for example, in case if you're in a danger situation, we say, don't touch that, it could be dangerous for you. Don't you think it is showing you the quality of how much it is good or bad? Correct?
Courageous.
Courageous. Famous.
Hilarious.
Hilarious.
Famous. Famous.
Yeah. Furious. Don't be so
Yes.
furious. And we know our exams are coming, so don't be nervous. I know you're going to write your paper. Fabulous. And don't be so, what I could say, generous in sharing your notes. Be serious about your studies. At the same time, be
Jealous.
curious also to ask doubts.
Delicious.
Yeah?
Delicious.
Delicious. Yes. Yes. And be curious,
Jealous.
taking notes. Obviously, you will make a lot of mistakes. Yeah. So because of various reasons, you can also write. You might make multiple mistakes also. Okay. But don't forget to be glamorous.
Yes.
Don't forget to be glamorous. We're all young women. You have to be glamorous. You have to be courageous. And you are enough for yourself. So you're enormous in doing whatever you have. And have that humor in your life. So be humorous also. And answer the questions spontaneously. So spontaneous. Right? So many words that we can actually get. So this is related to having the quality of. Now I can also add a IVE, which is tending to or having the nature of. You're trying to have that nature of something. For example, if you're very good in something, you're very creative, correct? So do we have any words with IVE, which is actually showing you that you
Innovative.
have that nature?
Innovative.
Innovative,
Active.
Attractive.
effective.
Appre-
Very good. You're effective. You're innovative.
Positive.
appreciative.
Attractive.
Creative.
Attractive. Very good. You're creative.
Appreciative.
Supportive.
Native.
Supportive. Now, don't you see you're having that nature in you? Yeah, you're having that nature.
Native.
So it is something that is helping you to define yourself. You're so supportive. And the way that you're saying is so narrative.
Positive.
Positive. That's beautiful. Alternative.
Active.
You're positive. You're giving lot of alternative examples also. And don't be negative. Correct? So that's related to
Conservative.
yeah, observative. Okay.
Conservative.
Let's go to the next one. We use a why when we are trying to work on characterized by. Okay, in case if I have something to be characterized by, we would be using our suffix y. Okay, so words like sun, sunny, dirt, dirty. See, there is some
Taste. Tasty.
taste,
Salt, salty.
Funny.
very good. Salt, salty,
Funny, ma'am.
Cloudy.
cloud, cloudy,
Funny.
happy,
Funny.
Messy. Gracefully.
messy, very good. I'm
Wetty.
changing my
Funny.
class, so wavy,
Lazy. Shiny.
tiny,
Funny.
fun,
Funny.
funny, healthy,
Curly.
curly. See, this is all, it is
Cloudy.
cloudy. So what we have to work or what we have to understand over here is like, whenever I'm adding the suffix y, it is generally indicating the state, correct? We know what is the state or the condition or the quality of it. So this tries to often transform your noun into an adjective, but that is describing of something being characterized by. Okay, so it is describing what it is characterized by. So these are some of the words that we will be able to work on it. Now let's move to our next one. Can I use al as a suffix, which can be related to something? Now it can be relating to what? It can be attached to something. Now say suppose in case if it's related to nature, I say it's natural, correct? Now in case if it's related to music,
Musical.
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 Nature.
If it is related to
Culture.
seasons,
Seasonal.
season.
Seasonal.
The fruits are seasonal, correct? So we use
Seasonal.
al when it is related to something. Now again, this related to here, it can be, let me write. It can still be again related to two more things, okay? It can be related to two more things. It can be either related to my, how do I write it? Yeah, it can still be related to two things. One is it can be related to my adjectives. The other one, it can be related to my nouns. Okay. Now, in adjectives, I can have nature, natural, music, musical. And in case if it is related to seasons, I say seasonal. But what if it is related to my nouns? The act of somebody is coming. So we say arrive, na? Arrival. So arriving, he's arriving. I have to renew this. So renewal. Teacher has to approve my leaves. So approval. So it can be related to both. Okay. So it can have the suffix of al. Now let's move to the next one, ish. So in what cases can I use ish? Is the next question. When can I use an ish? See, sometimes
Childish.
not very much sure. It is relating to approximation. Okay. So when I have something which is related to approximation, or sometimes in case if I'm working on the similarity part of it, just a second, I have not connected my laptop. Okay, switch on, say. Switch on, say. Plug switch on. Thank you. Yeah. So anytime that we use ISH is somewhere in case if I'm trying to link with multiple things, like, if I'm not very much sure, so it could be like approximately, or if I have something which is like somewhat similar, or anything which is little vague, then I use ISH. For example, child, don't be so childish. We say that, right? Don't always keep reading. Don't be bookish. We say that.
Foolish.
Be vague. Yeah.
Stylish.
Right? So we use it in that way. You're not very sure. How much is this dress? Maybe it is 40-ish. Maybe it is 50-ish. We use that ISH, in a very slang way. So when you're not very sure, in a very vague way, or whenever you want to say that it is not, you're not very sure about it, then I can actually use ISH in the context. So the next adjective suffix is ABLE. So when can I use ABLE? When they're saying it is capable of being. So when am I capable of being? When I'm worthy about it, correct? Then I use that form from my verbs or nouns. I can use it either for a verb or for a noun also. For example, if I'm giving you a book, it is readable. It should be a readable. Why I'm giving a book? There has to be some reason, right? So it has to be a reasonable book to read. If I'm giving a fruit for you, it should be washable. It shouldn't be perishable. It should be washable. If I'm loving you unconditionally, I should be able to love you. So lovable. So I can use it in that.
Comfortable.
I should be capable of doing that. Otherwise, I can't say that. Comfortable, yeah. Okay.
Possible.
Possible. Very good thing. So you can list as many words as possible. Okay. The last adjective suffix we are going to be seeing is IC. Okay. This is related to having some characteristic, I could say, related to having some characteristic or something which is very stylish. Correct? Say, for example, it has some characteristics. Say hero, heroic. Poet, poetic.
Magic.
Magic. Yeah. See, it has some characteristic or some style to do.
Graphic.
Graphic.
Dramatic.
Graphic.
Enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic. Yeah.
Dramatic.
Dramatic. Yeah. See, they're all having some kind of, some kind of a characteristic that needs to be exhibited, or some kind of a style, we could say. Okay.
Poetic.
Yeah.
Scientific.
Yeah. So we have a lot of words that has been covered under this. So try to list all of that, because they have not mentioned anything in the book. The book says, like, introduce suffixes to our children. But as teachers, you can add on as many suffixes as possible. But what you need to understand is, like, you don't have to tell them the meaning of when we are going to use full, when we're going to use less, when we're going to use the suffix OUS. You don't have to tell that. You can just give them the list of words: danger, dangerous. Many words which is ending with OUS, you can actually add it up and make them to read accordingly. Okay, so that was an adjective suffix. Moving to the fourth kind of a suffix, what we have is related to our adverb suffix. Now, when can I have my adverb suffix is the next question. I take a word, the word has to be my verb itself, action word. Now, when I'm adding a suffix, it should describe how it happened, when it happened, where it happened, to what extent it happened. Okay, that has to be my suffixes that they're going to be working on. Now, let's add a suffix ly. When I add an ly, it describes how that action word is done. For example, do it quickly. See, quickly. So it is describing how should I do? I have to do very fast. Do it slowly. Do it carefully. So it is describing me. So more or less, it's like an adverb. Correct? So more or less, it's like an adverb. So when we add ly, ward, wise, ways, the verb changes into an adverb. Okay? The suffix changes into an adverb. Now, words were ly, slowly, happily, quickly, then lovely, happily, mainly.
Say loudly.
Say loudly. See the act of how it needs to be done. Okay?
Telling.
Yes. Okay. Now let's take another one. WARD. So whenever we are adding WARD, it is showing me what direction that I have to be working on. Okay. It is related to my spatial awareness. It is helping me to work on my temporal directions. Where it is, say for example, backward. So it is showing me the direction, right? Inward.
Forward.
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 Forward. Very good. Afterward. Forward. Then.
Towards.
Towards.
Backward. Outward. Inward. What about downward?
Towards.
Forward.
Onwards. Today onwards I will do afterward. Straightforward. He's such a straightforward person. See, it is always showing me the directions of where am I trying to add my suffix. Okay, let's take another one. When I add a WISE, it shows me the manner or the relation. Okay, so what does that mean? Manner. What manner? For example, if the clock is rotating, it is going clockwise. See, it is showing me which manner it is actually moving.
Likewise.
Likewise. Time-wise.
Otherwise.
Otherwise, yes.
Budget-wise. Budget-wise.
Budget-wise, okay. Food-wise. Cross-wise. Street-wise.
Weather-wise.
Weather-wise, correct. Weather-wise. Many things are there. Correct? So that's there. The last one is related to WAYS. When do we use WAYS, guys? Whenever I'm trying to work with
Anyways.
anything
Position, direction.
need to work on my manner or the direction, we use WAYS. Words like sideways.
Always.
Anyways, very good.
Many ways.
Anyways. Sideways, many ways. Yeah.
Always.
Always, airways.
No way.
No way. that helps us to work with our suffixes. Okay. So beautifully been given. Huh? And I have given you a lot of words also. You can take a moment and you can take a screenshot of each one of it. Okay. The words, as many words as possible, the verb suffixes. You can take anything. So whenever you're working with older children, like maybe they are 6.5 or 7 years, you can introduce reading to children. Okay. So this can be like a reading, analytical way of reading. You know, you give them a list of sheet and the child just reads. You're adding an ing, running, jumping, playing, swimming. But here, what we are actually working is, we're not teaching them the rules of when are you doubling. We're not teaching about double consonants here. Okay, we're not teaching about double consonants. That will be a different concepts altogether. We are only teaching them to read. Sometimes what happens when you say swimming, the child might leave the other M and they might write only here. When you have to double, we will be teaching them in a different lessons also, right? So that's a different thing altogether on a doubling consonants. And yeah, did you take a screenshot of this?
Yes.
All right, okay. The next one is what? What's the next suffix that we actually saw after the verb suffixes?
Noun.
Noun
The noun suffixes. Okay, so earlier we saw many, but here there are few. So these are noun suffixes. Take a screenshot. Then we do have adjective suffixes. And we have the definitions of seeing it also. And there are a list of words that can actually be helpful. And then we have adverb suffixes, which will help us to work on it. So make a separate word card for each, print them in roll fonts, and let the child read it. But how would you do it in your Montessori classes? You can work on the sorting activity. So combine ing family with something else and let the child categorize them. Is it a noun suffix? Is it a verb suffix? Is it an adjective or an adverb suffix? Okay. So give them the root word separately and a suffix separately. What do you mean by doing that? You give them a root word separately. Say, suppose in case if my root word is this is my root word.
Watch.
Yeah, correct. So I might have my root word as watch. Okay. So I might have my suffixes differently.